First time seeing a naked man, the rancher teased, and the Apache girl quickly turned her face away. The land she knew was full of familiar sights and sounds: the dusty red soil, the soft rustling of the mesquite trees, and the distant mountains that seemed to hug the horizon. Her small home was always lively with the voices of her family, the laughter of children, and the smell of meals cooking over the fire. But now, at 12 years old, she was about to spend an entire summer at her aunt's ranch in rural Arizona, and everything felt both exciting and a little frightening. The drive to the ranch seemed longer than it actually was. As Maya peered out the window, she saw the landscape change. The dense clusters of trees and narrow dirt paths she was used to gradually gave way to wide-open spaces and rolling hills. Cattle grazed lazily in pastures that stretched farther than her eyes could reach. Windmills turned slowly in the distance, creaking as they caught the warm breeze. Maya pressed her nose against the window, trying to drink it all in. She felt a mixture of awe and nervousness. She had read about ranches in books and seen pictures in magazines, but nothing compared to actually seeing one in real life. When the car finally stopped at a wooden gate, Maya's heart skipped a beat. Her aunt was waiting for her, waving with a bright smile. Behind her, the ranch extended into a maze of fences, barns, and corrals. Horses kicked up small clouds of dust as they trotted around, and chickens clucked near the chicken coop. Maya jumped out of the car, her small suitcase in hand, and took a deep breath. The air smelled different here, fresh, earthy, and filled with the scent of animals and grass. Her aunt hugged her tightly. "Welcome to the ranch, Maya. I'm so glad you're here for the summer," she said. Maya smiled shyly and hugged her back, feeling a little more at ease. But she could already sense that life here was very different from her quiet days at home. As they walked toward the house, Maya noticed movement in the distance. Men were working in the fields, some driving tractors, others mending fences. She had never seen anything like this up close before. The ranch seemed alive in a way that her home had never been. Every sound, horses neighing, cattle mooing, the crunch of gravel under boots, felt like part of a rhythm she didn't fully understand yet. Her aunt gave her a quick tour of the ranch house. It was large and made of warm, honey-colored wood. The floors creaked under Maya's feet, and the windows let in golden streams of sunlight. Maya's room was small but cozy, with a quilt folded neatly on the bed and a window that looked out onto the pasture. She set her suitcase down and ran to the window, eager to take in more of the ranch. A herd of cows grazed in the distance, and a black and white dog ran across the yard, chasing after a chicken. Later, Maya followed her aunt to the barn. The smell of hay and animals was strong, but not unpleasant. She watched as her aunt fed the horses, explaining how each one had its own personality and needs. Maya reached out hesitantly to pet a gentle brown horse named Coco. The horse nudged her hand softly, and she laughed, feeling a little more comfortable with her surroundings. As the afternoon turned into evening, Maya began to notice the ranch hands settling down after a long day. They carried buckets of water, brushed down horses, and laughed loudly at small jokes she couldn't fully understand. Maya stayed close to her aunt, trying not to feel too shy, but her eyes kept wandering. She noticed that the men moved confidently and seemed completely at ease with the chores, the animals, and the open space around them. Maya realized that life here required a kind of strength and independence she had never needed to think about before. It was during this first evening that Maya saw something that made her heart skip a beat. A group of ranch hands had gathered near a small river at the edge of the property. They were washing up after the long, hot day, and Maya realized she could see them from where she was standing. She quickly turned her gaze away, feeling a strange mix of curiosity and embarrassment. Her cheeks burned, and she instinctively clutched the strap of her bag. She had never been in a situation like this before, and it made her feel both awkward and very aware of herself. Before she could dwell on it for too long, a voice called out from behind her. "First time seeing a naked man," said a cheerful, teasing voice. It was Mr. Thompson, the rancher. Maya jumped, spinning around to face him. He was tall, with a wide-brimmed hat and a smile that seemed to promise no harm. She looked at the ground, wishing she could disappear. "It's nothing like I expected," Maya muttered, her voice barely above a whisper. She felt a mixture of embarrassment and confusion. She didn't know whether to be angry, amused, or simply hide forever. Mr. Thompson chuckled. "Don't worry about it, young lady. It's just part of life out here. Everyone's human and everyone has to wash up sometimes. You'll get used to it." His tone was warm, not mean-spirited. He seemed to understand that this was new and overwhelming for her. Maya slowly looked up, trying to meet his eyes. She realized that there was no judgment in his expression, only amusement. She felt a tiny spark of courage. Maybe this wasn't something to be scared of, it was just different. Different didn't have to mean bad or wrong. That night, as she lay in bed, Maya thought about the day. She replayed everything: the wide-open fields, the sounds of animals, the smell of hay, and the people who lived so freely in this space. She remembered the river, the ranch hands, and Mr. Thompson's teasing words. She smiled to herself, realizing that she had already learned something important, that new experiences could feel strange, awkward, and even embarrassing, but they could also be opportunities to understand life in ways she had never imagined. She thought about her family back home, wondering what they would say if they could see her now. She felt a little proud that she had made it through the first day without crying or running back to the car. She had stepped into a world that was big, messy, and full of surprises, and she had survived. More than that, she had started to see the humor in it, even in moments that made her blush. As she drifted off to sleep, the sounds of the ranch continued outside her window. The soft lowing of cattle, the occasional bark of the dog, and the whisper of the wind through the trees were a lullaby she hadn't known she needed. Maya knew that this summer would be full of new lessons, challenges, and perhaps more moments that would make her cheeks burn or her heart race. And deep down, she felt a little thrill of excitement. She was ready to learn, to explore, and to grow in a place so different from the life she had always known. The first day had ended, but for Maya, it was only the beginning. She felt small in the vastness of the ranch. Yet for the first time, she also felt that maybe she could belong here in her own way, amidst the wide fields, the animals, and the people who laughed and worked under the sun. She didn't yet know all the lessons she would learn, or the friendships she would make, or the moments of awkwardness and laughter that would stay with her forever. But she knew this. She had opened a door to a world that was waiting for her to step inside. The next morning, Maya woke up early, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The sun poured golden light through the window, illuminating her small room. She could hear the soft lowing of cows in the distance and the rhythmic clucking of chickens near the coop. The ranch was already alive with movement, and she felt a strange thrill at being a part of it, even if only as a visitor for the summer. After quickly dressing and washing her face, Maya went downstairs. Her aunt had already prepared breakfast, a hearty meal of eggs, toast, and fresh milk from the morning's milking. The smell made Maya's stomach rumble. She sat at the wooden table, noticing how different everything felt here. The table was large enough to seat a family of 10 comfortably, and the morning sun streamed in through the windows, casting warm patterns across the floor. Her aunt smiled at her. "Are you ready to help with some chores today, Maya?" she asked. Maya nodded, trying to hide the nervousness she felt. She had spent her entire life helping at home, but this was a ranch, and everything was bigger, heavier, and more serious than anything she had known before. After breakfast, Maya's aunt led her out into the yard. The first chore of the day was to feed the horses. Maya had already petted Coco the day before, but now she was introduced to several other horses. Each had its own personality. One was playful, nipping gently at her sleeve. Another was shy and moved away when she approached. Maya learned how to pour grain carefully into their feeding troughs, how to stroke their manes to calm them, and how to notice the little signs of a horse's mood. While she was busy with the horses, Maya noticed Mr. Thompson walking toward her. He tipped his wide-brimmed hat and smiled. "Good morning, Maya. Ready for another day of adventure?" he asked with a teasing grin. Maya smiled politely but felt a flutter of nervousness in her chest. She had not forgotten his words from the previous evening, the teasing about seeing a naked man by the river. Though it had been meant in jest, it had left her cheeks burning and her heart pounding. She looked down at the ground, unsure how to respond. Mr. Thompson seemed to notice her hesitation. "Don't worry, Maya. I won't tease you too much today. Well, maybe just a little," he said with a wink. Maya couldn't help but let out a small giggle, feeling a mix of relief and embarrassment. She realized that his teasing was a way to make her feel included, to break the tension that naturally came from being a stranger in a new and strange place. As the morning went on, Maya helped with a variety of chores. She collected eggs from the chicken coop, learning which eggs were safe to use and which were too small or cracked. She helped sweep the barn floor, brush the horses, and even tried her hand at filling water troughs from the well. Each task was challenging in its own way, but Maya felt proud every time she completed one. She could see the joy in the ranch hands' faces as they worked together, and she wanted to be part of that world, even if she wasn't quite sure how yet. Around midday, the ranch hands gathered near the river to wash off the sweat and dust from their work. Maya tried to focus on her own tasks, but her eyes kept wandering, and she felt the familiar warmth creeping into her cheeks. She remembered the previous evening and quickly turned her gaze away, pretending to be interested in a group of chickens scratching at the ground. Mr. Thompson appeared again, leaning casually against a fence post. "Careful there, young lady," he called with a grin. "You're going to get in trouble if you stare too long." Maya's face turned bright red. She didn't know whether to laugh or hide her face entirely. I mean," she stammered, fumbling over her words. "That's all right," Mr. Thompson said kindly, chuckling. "It's natural to be curious. I remember feeling the same way when I was your age, but out here you'll see that it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Life is messy, sometimes awkward and sometimes funny. The best thing you can do is laugh at yourself a little." Maya bit her lip and nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and discomfort. She realized that her initial embarrassment wasn't because of something shameful. It was simply because she was seeing something new, something outside her familiar world. The ranch was teaching her lessons not only about work and responsibility, but also about human nature, about humor, and about how to navigate moments that made her feel uneasy. After lunch, Maya's aunt suggested they take a walk around the ranch to check on the fences and see the cattle. Maya agreed eagerly. As they walked, her aunt explained the importance of each fence line, the rotation of pastures, and how to notice if a cow was sick or injured. Maya listened carefully, absorbing the information like a sponge. She felt proud that she was learning so quickly. While they were walking, Mr. Thompson appeared again, this time with a playful grin. "You know, Maya, the first time seeing a naked man is always a memorable one," he said, causing Maya to spin around and cover her face with her hands. She felt her cheeks burning again and wanted to run away, but she couldn't help laughing at the absurdity of the situation. "I told you I wouldn't tease you too much today," he said, still laughing. Maya peeked through her fingers and saw that his smile was warm and friendly. It wasn't mean-spirited, and she felt a little braver. Maybe she could handle the teasing after all. The rest of the afternoon was filled with more chores, but Maya began to notice a shift in herself. She was no longer quite as shy or nervous. She found herself making small jokes with the ranch hands, asking questions about their lives, and even laughing at Mr. Thompson's teasing rather than hiding from it. Each moment of humor or embarrassment was becoming less intimidating and more like a stepping stone toward understanding this new world. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Maya helped her aunt bring the animals back to their pens for the night. She felt tired but satisfied. Her arms were sore from carrying buckets and brushing horses, but there was a sense of accomplishment she hadn't felt before. The ranch wasn't just a place to visit. It was a place that demanded effort, presence, and courage, and she was starting to meet those demands, even as a newcomer. Before heading inside for dinner, Maya paused for a moment and looked at the river where the ranch hands had washed earlier. She remembered the teasing, the awkwardness, and the lessons she had already begun to learn. For the first time, she saw that embarrassment wasn't something to fear. It was just a natural reaction to new experiences. She realized that humor, patience, and a willingness to learn were just as important as strength or skill on the ranch. That night, after a simple but hearty meal, Maya sat on her bed and thought about the day. She remembered the laughter, the chores, the teasing, and the quiet moments by the river. She felt proud that she had handled the awkwardness without running away or crying. She felt a small spark of confidence, a recognition that she could navigate this new world with curiosity and courage. She also realized that Mr. Thompson's teasing wasn't just about humor. It was a way to teach her resilience, to help her see the lighter side of life, and to prepare her for moments that might feel uncomfortable or embarrassing. Maya smiled to herself, thinking that she might even start teasing him back in her own way, just to show that she could handle it. As she drifted off to sleep, the sounds of the ranch surrounded her, the soft rustling of trees, the lowing of cattle, the distant bark of the dog. Maya felt a sense of belonging, even if she wasn't quite a part of the ranch yet. She knew there were more lessons to come, more moments of awkwardness and humor, and more chances to grow. And deep down, she was eager for all of it. The second day had ended, but for Maya, it was another step in a journey of discovery. She had learned that life on the ranch was full of surprises, laughter, and lessons that weren't always easy but were always valuable. And she knew that she was ready to face whatever the next day might bring, with curiosity, courage, and a growing sense of confidence in herself. The morning sun rose gently over the ranch, spilling golden light across the fields and making the dew on the grass sparkle like tiny diamonds. Maya woke up to the familiar sounds of the animals and the quiet rustle of the wind through the trees. She stretched and sat up in her bed, feeling more confident than the day before. She had survived the first 2 days, handled Mr. Thompson's teasing, and even laughed at herself a little. Today, she thought, would be another chance to learn, explore, and maybe understand life on the ranch a little better. After a quick breakfast of eggs, toast, and fresh milk, Maya followed her aunt to the barn. Today, she was going to learn more than just the basic chores. Her aunt had planned to show her how the ranch ran from morning to evening. As they walked through the yard, Maya noticed the ranch hands moving efficiently, each with a purpose. Some were feeding the animals, others were checking the fences, and a few were preparing equipment for the day's work. Everything felt alive and organized in a way that was fascinating to watch. Her aunt smiled at her. Today, you'll see how everything on a ranch works together. You'll notice how the men and women help each other and how each task matters. Pay attention, Maya, there's a lot to learn. Maya nodded eagerly, her curiosity piqued. Their first stop was the horse barn. Maya had already met Coco and a few others, but today her aunt wanted her to observe the animals' behavior more closely. She learned how horses communicated through subtle gestures, the flick of an ear, the twitch of a tail, the way they shifted their weight. Maya's aunt explained how understanding these small details could prevent accidents and build trust between humans and animals. Maya listened carefully, fascinated by the intelligence and sensitivity of the horses. While she was brushing a young brown mare, Maya noticed one of the ranch hands carrying a bucket of water past the barn. He was shirtless from the waist up, the sweat from his work glistening in the morning sun. Maya froze for a moment, instinctively turning her face away. Her cheeks burned, and she felt that familiar flutter of embarrassment in her chest. She remembered Mr. Thompson's teasing from the previous days and realized that this was part of what he had meant. Before she could feel too uncomfortable, her aunt spoke gently. "It's all right, Maya. They're just working just like you are brushing that horse. It's not unusual out here. Everyone sees a lot of different things and it's normal to notice." Maya took a deep breath and nodded. She realized that this was just life on the ranch, casual and open, and that her reaction was natural because it was new to her. After finishing with the horses, her aunt took her to check the fences. They walked along the edge of a large pasture, noticing areas where the wire needed tightening or a post needed replacing. Maya learned how important the fences were, not just for keeping the animals in, but for protecting them from danger. As they worked together, she noticed the camaraderie among the ranch hands. They joked with each other, offered help without hesitation, and moved with a kind of ease and confidence she admired. Maya was fascinated by how different this was from her life back home. On the reservation, everyone was close-knit, but tasks were smaller, and people rarely interacted with strangers in the same casual way. Here, strangers were part of a larger, working community. Everyone had a role, and everyone relied on each other. Maya began to understand that this sense of trust and casual openness was part of what made the ranch function so smoothly. After inspecting the fences, they returned to the main yard, where more chores awaited. Maya helped gather eggs from the chicken coop, noticing which eggs were suitable for use and which needed to be discarded. She helped sweep the barn floor, learning that keeping the space clean was as important for the animals' health as feeding them properly. Each task seemed small, but Maya started to see the bigger picture. All these little efforts added up to a well-run ranch. As the day grew warmer, Maya observed the ranch hands taking breaks by the river. Some were washing their hands, others filling buckets, and a few were sitting on the rocks, enjoying the cool breeze. One of the men laughed and made a light-hearted joke about the work, causing Maya to giggle quietly. She realized that laughter was a big part of ranch life. Even in hard work, people found moments to connect, joke, and relax. Mr. Thompson approached her again, leaning casually against the fence with that familiar grin. "Getting used to things yet, Maya?" he asked. Maya nodded, smiling shyly. "Yes, I think I'm starting to understand how it all works. It's different from home, but I like it." "That's good to hear," he said, tipping his hat. "Life out here can feel overwhelming at first, but once you notice the little details, it all makes sense. And remember, it's okay to feel awkward sometimes. That's how you learn." Maya felt a wave of gratitude toward him. His teasing hadn't been mean-spirited. It had been a way to teach her about life, patience, and humor. She realized that his jokes were lessons in disguise, helping her navigate moments that made her uncomfortable and encouraging her to see them with curiosity instead of fear. Later, her aunt led her to the cattle pens. Maya helped sort the cows, learning how to identify them by their markings and how to guide them safely from one pen to another. She was amazed at how calm the animals were, despite the hustle and bustle of the ranch hands moving around them. Maya noticed that the men spoke to the animals gently but confidently, giving clear commands and gestures. She realized that respect and trust were essential here, both for the animals and for the people. During a short break, Maya sat on a hay bale, watching the ranch hands work. She noticed small, everyday interactions. One man helping another lift a heavy bucket, a young worker teasing an older one about spilling feed, and everyone laughing without worry. Maya thought about her own life back home and realized that humor, teasing, and lightheartedness were ways to connect with people, even in hard work. By mid-afternoon, Maya began to notice how much she had learned in just a few days. She could carry a bucket without spilling it, brush a horse with care, collect eggs efficiently, and even understand some of the jokes the ranch hands made. But more importantly, she was beginning to understand the people themselves. She saw that their casual openness, their laughter, and even their moments of teasing were ways of sharing trust and creating bonds. She was learning not just the chores, but the rhythm and spirit of ranch life. At one point, she noticed a young ranch hand washing up near the river. He was focused on his task, moving naturally and without any sense of embarrassment. Maya remembered how she had felt when she first saw someone washing outside, and she realized something important. People here didn't see it as awkward or embarrassing. It was simply part of life. Maya felt a sense of relief. She understood now that her own reactions were natural, but also that they could change as she became more familiar with this world. In the evening, as the sun began to dip behind the hills, Maya helped her aunt feed the animals one last time. She felt tired, but in a good way, tired from learning, moving, and thinking about all she had experienced. She felt a sense of pride in what she had accomplished. Today, she had not only learned more about the ranch but also about herself. She had faced moments of embarrassment, observed people in their natural routines, and begun to understand the balance of work, humor, and trust that made the ranch function so smoothly. After dinner, Maya sat on the porch, looking out at the fading light. She thought about the river, the animals, and the people she had seen that day. She realized that life here was full of lessons, not just about work, but about understanding people, seeing humor in awkward moments, and learning to adapt to new situations. She felt a little braver, a little wiser, and much more curious about what the next days would bring. Before going to bed, she took one last look at the ranch under the stars. The air was cool, and the sounds of the animals at rest filled the night. She felt a quiet connection to this place, even though she had only been here a few days. Maya understood that she was learning more than just how to take care of animals or complete chores. She was learning how to live with patience, humor, and awareness of the world around her. She smiled to herself, remembering Mr. Thompson's teasing, the river, and the laughter of the ranch hands. Life on the ranch was different, sometimes awkward, sometimes funny, but always real. And for the first time, Maya felt that she could face it all with curiosity instead of fear. She was beginning to feel at home in this new, wide-open world. As she drifted off to sleep, Maya thought about tomorrow. There would be more lessons, more observations, and more opportunities to learn about the rhythm of ranch life. She felt ready. She was beginning to understand the balance of work, trust, and humor that made the ranch what it was. And she knew that every day here would bring her closer to understanding not only the ranch and its people, but also herself. The morning air was crisp and fresh as Maya stepped out of her room. The sun was just rising, casting a golden glow across the ranch. Birds chirped from the trees, and the distant lowing of cattle created a calm background hum. Today, Maya felt different. She woke up feeling lighter, as if the ranch itself had slowly started to teach her how to face new experiences without fear. The awkwardness she had felt on her first days was still in her mind, but it no longer weighed her down. Instead, it seemed like a small, distant memory. After breakfast, her aunt gave her a list of chores for the morning. Maya had grown more confident in handling the horses, feeding the animals, and collecting eggs. She moved with a sense of purpose now, carrying buckets and brushing horses without hesitation. Even the small jokes from the ranch hands no longer made her flustered. She laughed with them rather than hiding from their humor, and that simple change made her feel a part of the ranch in a way she hadn't before. As she was sweeping the barn floor, she noticed a few ranch hands heading toward the river. They were going to wash off after the long morning of work. Maya's eyes followed them for a brief moment, and she felt the familiar warmth creeping into her cheeks. But instead of looking away immediately, she remembered the lessons she had learned, the openness, the casual nature of the ranch, and Mr. Thompson's teasing that was meant to teach rather than embarrass her. She looked down for a second, then returned her attention to the task at hand, feeling proud that she could handle the moment without panic. Later, her aunt took her to the pasture to check on the cattle. Maya walked alongside her, carefully observing the animals' behavior. She had learned that even small signs, a lifted tail, a shift in weight, or a lowing sound, could tell her a lot about how the animals were feeling. Maya guided the cows gently, making sure none of them wandered off or became frightened. The ranch hands noticed her calmness and gave her approving nods. For the first time, she felt like she truly belonged in the rhythm of ranch life, even if only temporarily. During a short break by the river, Maya decided to sit on a flat rock and watch the water flow. The sunlight made patterns on the surface, and she felt a sense of peace that she hadn't felt before. The river had been the source of her initial embarrassment, but now it seemed like a place of learning. She observed a ranch hand washing a bucket and realized that life on the ranch wasn't about appearances. It was about purpose, routine, and being comfortable in your own skin. Mr. Thompson appeared again, leaning on a nearby fence. "You're getting the hang of things, Maya," he said with a smile. "I can tell you're learning not just the chores but also how life moves out here. You're starting to understand the rhythm." Maya smiled shyly. "I think I am. It's different from home, but I like it. I'm learning so much about the animals, the work, and even the people." "That's good," he said, tipping his hat. "And don't forget, it's okay to laugh at yourself. That's part of what makes life easier. Even the most awkward moments can become something you enjoy once you understand them." Maya thought about the river, the teasing, and the initial embarrassment she had felt. She realized that Mr. Thompson's words were true. Life on the ranch was full of awkward moments, but those moments were fleeting. They could be turned into humor, learning, or just a simple acknowledgement that the world was bigger than her small fears. Later that day, Maya's aunt asked her to help with laundry near the river. Maya carried the wet clothes carefully, aware of the water and the rocks. As she bent to scrub a shirt, she noticed one of the ranch hands changing clothes nearby. At first, her old instinct kicked in. She felt her face flush and quickly turned away. But then she paused and remembered what she had learned over the past few days. She realized that this was not a moment of shame or embarrassment. It was simply life on the ranch, ordinary and natural. Instead of panicking or turning completely away, Maya focused on her task. She scrubbed the clothes with care, listening to the river's gentle flow. She noticed the sunlight dancing on the water, the birds singing in the trees, and the soft sounds of the ranch all around her. For the first time, she felt a sense of calm in a situation that would have previously made her nervous. She understood that her reaction was her own choice. She could feel embarrassed, or she could accept the moment and continue learning. She chose the latter. Her aunt glanced at her and smiled. "You're learning quickly, Maya. Not just the chores, but how to handle the world around you. That's something most kids your age take years to understand." Maya felt a small surge of pride. She realized that the ranch was teaching her more than how to work with animals or complete tasks. It was teaching her resilience, observation, and self-confidence. She could handle moments that made her uncomfortable. She could laugh at herself, and she could see the humor and purpose in everyday life. As the afternoon progressed, Maya helped herd some of the younger cows into a separate pen. She noticed a few strays wandering too close to the edge of the pasture. Calmly, she guided them back, using gentle gestures and quiet words she had learned from watching the ranch hands. The cows responded immediately, moving as she directed. Maya felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Not only had she learned to manage the animals, but she had also gained the confidence to face challenges calmly and effectively. During a short break, Maya sat on the fence and watched the sun begin to dip in the sky. She thought about the past few days, the first awkward moments, the teasing, the laughter, and the hard work. She realized how much she had changed. She no longer felt small or out of place. She felt capable, curious, and ready to take on whatever the ranch had to offer. Even the teasing from Mr. Thompson now felt like a game rather than something to fear. She remembered the first time he had joked about seeing a naked man. Back then, she had turned away in embarrassment, unsure of how to react. Now she could smile at the memory, understanding that it was a playful way to teach her confidence and perspective. As evening approached, Maya helped her aunt bring the animals into their pens for the night. The soft glow of the setting sun made the pasture look golden, and the shadows of the animals stretched across the ground. Maya felt a sense of satisfaction and peace. She had faced moments of embarrassment, learned new skills, and begun to understand the rhythm of life on the ranch. She felt strong, capable, and ready for the challenges that tomorrow might bring. After dinner, Maya sat on the porch and watched the stars appear one by one in the clear night sky. The sounds of the ranch at night were comforting, the gentle lowing of the cows, the occasional bark of the dog, and the whisper of the wind through the trees. She thought about the lessons she had learned. That life was full of awkward or uncomfortable moments, but these moments could be handled with humor, patience, and observation. She understood that embarrassment was temporary, and that confidence came from facing challenges rather than avoiding them. Maya smiled to herself, thinking about the river, the horses, the ranch hands, and even Mr. Thompson's teasing. She realized that every day brought new experiences, and every experience was an opportunity to learn not just about the ranch, but about herself. For the first time, she felt truly in sync with her surroundings, comfortable in her own skin, and proud of the progress she had made. As she drifted off to sleep, Maya felt a quiet sense of anticipation for tomorrow. She knew there would be more lessons, more chores, more laughter, and perhaps more moments that might make her blush. But now she was ready. She had learned how to navigate awkward situations with calmness and grace, how to find humor in small moments, and how to observe and understand the world around her. The fourth day at the ranch ended, but for Maya, it was a milestone. She had grown more confident, more aware, and more comfortable in a world that had once seemed overwhelming. She understood that life on the ranch was not just about work. It was about trust, humor, observation, and learning to face challenges with courage and curiosity. And as she closed her eyes, she knew she was ready for whatever the next day would bring. The morning of her last day at the ranch arrived quietly, with the sun casting soft golden light over the fields. Maya awoke feeling a mix of emotions. She was excited to return home and share her stories with her family, but she also felt a gentle sadness. The ranch had become more than just a place she visited for the summer. It had become a part of her. The wide-open fields, the animals, the sounds of nature, and the laughter of the ranch hands all felt like pieces of a world she had grown to love. After breakfast, Maya's aunt handed her a small notebook. "I thought you might like to write down some memories before you leave," she said. Maya smiled and accepted it gratefully. She had experienced so much over the past several days, new lessons, new friends, and even a few moments of embarrassment that had taught her courage and resilience. She wanted to remember it all. Maya began by writing about the animals. She described Coco, the gentle horse who had nudged her hand the first day, and the young brown mare who had tested her patience. She wrote about the cows, the chickens, and the loyal dog that always seemed to appear where it was most needed. As she wrote, she realized how much she had learned about caring for animals, understanding their needs, and observing their behavior. Each entry made her smile, reminding her that these creatures had quietly taught her patience, attention, and kindness. Next, Maya wrote about the people. She recalled Mr. Thompson's teasing, which had once embarrassed her but now made her laugh when she thought about it. She remembered the ranch hands joking with each other, helping one another with chores and laughing together even after long, hard days. Maya realized that she had witnessed a kind of teamwork and camaraderie she had never seen before. She had learned that humor, respect, and patience were just as important as strength or skill. Maya also reflected on herself. She remembered how nervous and shy she had been on the first day, how her cheeks had burned at small moments, and how she had worried about feeling out of place. But now, after days of hard work, observation, and learning, she felt proud of how far she had come. She had faced awkward situations, learned to laugh at herself, and grown more confident. The ranch had taught her not just about chores or animals, but about courage, patience, and understanding life in all its awkward, beautiful moments. After a few minutes of writing, her aunt suggested they walk one last time around the property. Maya agreed eagerly. She wanted to savor every detail: the wide pastures, the fences stretching into the distance, the gentle hills, and the sparkling river where she had first felt so embarrassed but had later learned courage. As they walked, she noticed the soft glow of the morning sun reflecting on the animals' coats. She felt a sense of peace and belonging she had never felt before. They stopped by the river, and Maya paused to watch the water flow over the rocks. She remembered her first few days, the nervousness, the embarrassment, and the lessons she had learned there. She realized that those moments had been important. They had taught her that discomfort was not something to fear, but something to understand. She smiled quietly, appreciating the growth she had experienced. Mr. Thompson approached, tipping his hat with that familiar grin. "Looks like someone has learned a lot while they've been here," he said warmly. Maya nodded, feeling a wave of gratitude. "Yes, I've learned so much, not just about the ranch, but about myself." "That's wonderful to hear," he replied. "You've faced challenges, handled awkward moments, and observed life carefully. Those are lessons that will stay with you far beyond this summer. I hope you take them with you wherever you go." Maya felt a lump in her throat. She realized he was right. The lessons she had learned, the humor, the patience, the courage, and the confidence, were not just about ranch life. They were about life itself. She had discovered that facing new experiences, even when they made her nervous or embarrassed, could teach her more than she had ever imagined. After walking along the river, Maya helped her aunt with the last chores for the morning. She fed the chickens, brushed the horses one last time, and helped carry buckets to the barn. Each task felt special now. She no longer saw them as work, but as ways to connect with the world around her. She noticed the details she had missed on the first days: the soft texture of the hay, the warmth of the sun on the animals' backs, and the small, simple joys of working alongside others. As lunchtime approached, Maya sat with her aunt and Mr. Thompson on the porch enjoying a simple meal. The conversation was light and filled with laughter. Maya shared a few stories about her first days, how embarrassed she had been, and how she had learned to laugh at herself. Mr. Thompson chuckled, remembering the moments he had teased her, and Maya realized that humor had indeed been one of her greatest teachers on the ranch. After lunch, it was time to pack her things. Maya carefully folded her clothes, placed her notebook safely in her bag, and glanced around the room she had called her own for the past days. Every corner held a memory: the view from the window, the quilt on the bed, and even the small creak of the floorboards that had once startled her. She felt a bittersweet tug at her heart. She was leaving, but she knew she was taking a piece of the ranch with her: the lessons, the laughter, and the confidence she had gained. Before leaving, Maya went to say goodbye to the animals. She patted Coco's mane gently, whispered a soft goodbye to the young mare, and thanked the cows and chickens for teaching her patience and care. The loyal dog followed her, tail wagging, as if understanding that she was leaving but promising to remember her fondly. Maya felt a sense of connection that she hadn't expected, realizing that the ranch had become more than a place. It had become a part of her life and her heart. Finally, Maya turned to Mr. Thompson. "Thank you," she said sincerely, "for everything. For teaching me, for laughing with me, and even for teasing me when I needed it. I've learned so much this summer." Mr. Thompson smiled warmly. "You're welcome, Maya. You've grown a lot in a short time. Remember, life will always have moments that make you nervous or embarrassed. But if you face them with patience, humor, and observation, you'll grow stronger every time." Maya nodded, feeling a tear slip down her cheek. She knew he was right. The ranch had given her courage, confidence, and understanding. It had shown her that life was full of lessons hidden in ordinary moments, and that laughter could be found even in awkward situations. As she climbed into the car with her aunt, Maya took one last look at the ranch. The wide pastures stretched into the distance, the animals moved gracefully across the fields, and the gentle hills rose softly against the horizon. She felt a mixture of sadness and gratitude. She was leaving a place that had taught her so much, but she was also taking the lessons with her, ready to apply them in her life at home and beyond. The drive back to the reservation was quiet at first. Maya thought about the past days, the embarrassment she had felt at first, the teasing, the laughter, the chores, and the animals. She thought about Mr. Thompson and the ranch hands, about her aunt's guidance, and about how much she had grown. She realized that she had not only learned about ranch life but also about herself. She had learned to face challenges with courage, to observe carefully, and to find humor and joy in unexpected places. By the time they arrived home, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment. She hugged her parents tightly, eager to tell them all about her experiences. She shared stories about the animals, the chores, and the lessons she had learned. She laughed at the teasing from Mr. Thompson, and even described the moments by the river that had once made her blush. Her family listened in amazement, proud of how much she had grown and how much she had learned in just one summer. That night, as Maya lay in bed, she thought about the ranch. She realized that life was full of new experiences, and that each experience, whether awkward, funny, or challenging, was an opportunity to grow. She smiled to herself, feeling a quiet sense of confidence. She had faced moments that had once seemed impossible, and she had come out stronger, braver, and more understanding of the world around her. Maya drifted off to sleep with a heart full of gratitude and memories. She knew she would return to the ranch one day, but even if she didn't, the lessons she had learned would stay with her forever. The summer had changed her in ways she hadn't expected, teaching her patience, courage, humor, and self-confidence. She was ready for the next chapter of her life, carrying with her the spirit of the ranch, the openness, the laughter, and the gentle strength that had welcomed her into its wide-open world.